Namaskaram. Hello, friends. I'm here to express a few of my thoughts on Ayurveda and Ayurveda pharmacy, pharmaceuticals related topics. The word Ayurveda is a buzzword today than ever before. And in 2002, when Oxford English Dictionary introduced Ayurveda word into its dictionary, the very popular dictionary of English language. So people asked the editors, Ayurveda is not an English word and still it has been introduced into the dictionary, and how is it acceptable? Then the editors said the reason that the word is very popular and so much in general, and even to that extent that people are using this word even on a dining table, so that it's our responsibility to make to the readers the meaning of this word Ayurveda, although it's not an English word. And they said that the word Ayurveda entered first in 1788 in a Asiatic research book, which described it as the theory of disorders and medicine. But when the word Ayurveda is said, everyone jumps on to understand it is a system of medicine. As you know, this Sanskrit word Ayurveda never means any system of medicine or pathology or anti-pathology or whatever, pro-pathology. But if you truly translate linguistically, it means biology. Ayush plus Veda, bios and logos in Greek. Ayush is bios, Veda is logos. So it is the concept of biology per se, the most ancient word for biology being recorded in the earth probably. It's very heartening to hear and see that Wikipedia records that the concept of biology, although it arose in 19th century, but the biological sciences emerged from the traditions of medicine and natural history, reaching back to Ayurveda. First reference is given to Ayurveda, after that ancient Egyptian medicine, and then the works of Aristotle and Galen in the ancient Greco-Roman world. So truly, the word Ayurveda is talking about biology rather than medicine. That has to be made very clear for an appropriate understanding of word Ayurveda. And why is it so? Even in Charaka, that you find that the Ayurveda's knowledge is said to be Shashwatam, that is perpetual. It was never, started in one particular century, in particular year, or whatever. It has been in existence right from the existence of Ayush, the life. Then that's why he further describes it as Anadi. So there is no beginning. It is Swabhavam. It is natural. It's a natural science of knowledge, or body of knowledge, the science which is existing in nature. And it is Nityam. It is ever, because the life on this earth is eternal or innate, and so it is Nityam. So then if Ayurveda is biology, then why all of us, the so-called biologists, the Ayurvedists, always consider Ayurveda as only diagnosis, treatment, medicine, and so on and so forth. and always try to compete with the contemporary medicine and try to equate, correlate with the contemporary medicine. We need to understand that when Charaka describes the outline of the knowledge of Ayurveda, how it is obtained, he makes a mention of what is called as Triskandam. Hetulinga Aushadha Jnanam Swastatura Parayanam. So Ayurveda gives the knowledge of Hetu, Linga, Aushadha in Swastha and Atura. So if this sentence obviously makes one to understand that Ayurveda is a system of medicine, because Hetu, etiology, Linga, symptomatology or clinical features or the characteristics, and Aushadha, obviously the medicine. But this is applicable in two situations, Swastha plus Atura. And he says Para Ayanam. So foremost method, foremost way to understand in these two states of life. Either one is healthy or one is diseased. Either of them. So there's something to say, two faces of the same coin called life. So it is the knowledge of the cause and the characteristics and the substance for Swastha, healthy or one who is in well-being, and obviously from the science of medicine, etiology, clinical feature, and medicines. So it is applicable for both the facets of life. And because of this, that the objective, the prayojana, the utility of Ayurveda knowledge, it is said, prayojanam chasya swastasya swasthya rakshanam aturasya vikara prashamanam. So the purpose of this science is to preserve the health of the healthy and cure the disease of the deceased. So it is applicable for both healthy as well as deceased. So then, if there are two distinct situations of life, then we need to define clearly this terminology as into two streams, two separate streams, as Ayurveda, which is bioscience for the preservation of wellness in a healthy individual, and Ayurvedic medicine, the biomedical science that addresses the patient's illnesses and scientifically and rationally. So we have to distinguish always between Ayurveda and Ayurvedic medicine, which gives us a clear distinction of what context and the topic that we are talking when we use these words. People say in Ayurveda, for everything. So Ayurveda is encompassing. Ayurveda means it's just a biology. It's a science of life or bioscience or life science or whatever. But until unless we define ourselves separately as Ayurvedic medicine, then we talk professionally, medically, and what you call biomedically, that we talk about all the science, the technologies and whatnot else. There is a conflict of understanding that people say Ayurveda, either outside India, Ayurveda was first recognized, absorbed and accepted and embraced also for wellness. So the wellness spas, the most popular Ayurveda therapies, which has been branded as Kerala Ayurveda, has been so popular around the world for its massages and saunas, as to speak in Western parlance. And there has been an effort of the professionals to know, so to say, how do we go beyond wellness? Ayurveda beyond wellness. Why? Because Ayurveda has been so synonymous and linked with only wellness practices, a wellness spas. So that is where we need to understand truly Ayurveda is for wellness and Ayurvedic medicine is for illness. So that we have to differentiate, and it's very high time that we adopt these terminologies to differentiate the context we are talking, policy making, and in practice as well. So I will restrict myself to talk about the second aspect, Athurasya Parayanam, the Ayurvedic medicine. So the biomedical science, the Ayurveda biomedical science for the deceased. So in this context, most of the times that we study either any of these Brihatris, Levitris or whatever, as Ayurveda professionals, we are always Ayurveda medical professionals. The aspect of the wellness is almost reduced or belittled. Many of the times that you find in Ayurveda medical colleges, the aspects of this Swasthavritta or the so-called the wellness aspects have been very reduced to most minimal. But in this context, talking about Ayurvedic medicine, most of the references in these the texts on Ayurveda, the authoritative texts on Ayurveda, talks about, while talking in ingredients per se, Charaka described there are three types of ingredients, dravyas: dosha prashamana, dhatu pradushana, and swasthahita. If you look at this, the most emphasis given on the first two, dosha prashamanam, which are antagonistic in nature, dhatu pradushanam, agonistic in nature. So this is what even today we talk in terms of pharmacology, agonist and antagonist. That's how the medicines react in the body. And swasthahita, we can know in the most modern parlance, and currently the Ayurveda products being utilized as the supplements or nutritional supplements or health supplements, dietary supplements, swasthahita. Further, when he says, now how these products or ingredients are made, the source of these type of ingredients based on their effect on body and mind, he says there are only three sources: Jangama, Udbhida, Parthivam. So animal, Jangama animal, Udbhida botanical, and Parthivam mineral. As you can see that when it is said that Ayurveda was natural, Swabhava, the nature of materials available on earth is only these three types: animal, botanical, mineral. So any product in Ayurvedic medicine made should have this source in these three categories, either individually or in combination. It has been a popular understanding that Ayurvedic medicine is always herbal. And it is so popular because it is herbal. in 2002, WHO brought out guidelines for herbal medicine, testing of the adulterants, substitutes, and quality, particularly. So when it was described as a herbal medicine, they defined very clearly the terminologies, what this consists of. Today, we are in crossroads when we say Ayurvedic product. Some people argue it is only Kashtaushadam, herbal medicine, and others say Rasaushadam, herbal medicine. So what is it? If we follow the WHO's guidelines for herbal medicine, so they are coined as herbal medicine, which is also comes under the classification or the category of what is called as traditional medicine. Today we have in India the Global Traditional Medicine Center in Gujarat. For it's a honor recognizing the richness of the knowledge and the legacy that Ayurvedic medicine was able to offer in this land. So while looking at the WHO's definition of herbal medicine, they describe certain terminologies. First is herbs. What is herb? Herb is a crude plant material. Kashtam. The herbs means crude plant materials. Then they describe subsequently herbal materials. The herbal materials are comprising of these herbs as well as other so-called unorganized drugs like gums, oils, fixed oils, essential oils, resins, etc. That is called as herbal material, which is unorganized as well. The third one is herbal preparation. Herbal preparation is based on these herbs and herbal materials. The preparation that is made. Friends, as you know, these herbal preparations, which Charaka described very early as Panchavida Kashaya Kalpana, because herbs were the main dominant raw materials source. So how to utilize these herbs? Herbs cannot be eaten raw like that as animals were doing. So they have to be prepared. And that's how he describes that Panchavida Kashaya Kalpana, and subsequently it came to be more professionally developed by Sharangadhara. Herbal preparations includes all those, the juices, the expressed juice, then powdered herbal material, churna, then the paste, all that, extracts. They're called as herbal preparation. These are the primary processing method for these herbal materials. The third one, from there, WHO describes what is called as finished herbal products or herbal medicinal products. So finished herbal products or herbal medicinal products is what we call in Ayurveda as yoga. So in yogas or kalpas or kalpana, as Vaishajya Kalpana is a discipline today that we know very well, developed after Sharangadhara Samhita was written. So this finished herbal products or herbal medicinal products, these are the official regulatory terms. I just wanted to share with you that you need to recognize this. And we have to use, this is standard nomenclatures for these. So finished herbal products consists of one single herbal ingredient made out of or combination of these herbal ingredients. But it is very surprising to see that in some countries, The herbal medicine is also defined as that may contain by tradition, similar to as we find in Ayurveda. I will come to that. Natural, organic, inorganic active materials which are not of plant origin as well. So, like animal ingredients as well as mineral ingredients, mineral materials. That's also considered to be as herbal medicine. So, look at this. Herbo mineral, what we used to say, rasaushadis, what is translated loosely in English as herbo mineral. He is actually under the ambit of WHO definition, is still herbal medicine because by tradition in some country it is accepted. So these herbal products, as WHO defines, apart from these herbs in either individual or the mixed herbal ingredients together, may also contain excipients in addition to this. Herbs used as active ingredients. Together is what is called as finished herbal product or a herbal medicinal product. So now it is very clear that both under the definition of WHO, both Kashtoshada as well as Rasoshada, both are called as herbal medicinal products. But it is very clear that it differentiates that any of these combination of herbal ingredients, mixed products, to which chemically defined active substances have been added, including synthetic compounds, maybe it is semi-synthetic, synthetic, isolated constituents also from botanicals, are not considered as herbal. That's very important. So that makes it very clear that when isolated constituents of the herbs or botanicals are added into or developed separately, they are not called as herbal medicinal product. But there is always a question to say what is an Ayurvedic product or Ayurvedic medicine or Ayurvedic drug to say. So thankfully, people have different definitions to it, but still our most important regulatory document in India, the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940 and Rules 1945, defines very clearly what is an Ayurvedic drug. It's not Ayurvedic medicine, it is Ayurvedic drug. You have to note that. Section 3 and clause A defines that all medicines intended for internal or external use for or in the diagnosis, treatment or mitigation or prevention of disease or disorder in human beings or animals, both human beings or animals. Look here, you can see that both Ayurveda for human beings as well as Ayurveda for animals, Pashu Ayurveda, and manufactured exclusively in accordance with the formulae described in the authoritative books in the first schedule of Ayurveda. So only with regards to the references quoted in the authority text in the first schedule of this particular act that you find, and the products made out of that for all these purposes of diagnosis, prevention, mitigation, as well as treatment, most importantly, is considered to be Ayurvedic drug. But later, it was defined the second category called as patent or proprietary medicine. Under section 3, clause H and subclause 1, the patent and proprietary medicine is defined as all formulations containing only such ingredients mentioned in the formula described in the authoritative text of Ayurveda, listed out in the first schedule. But most important clause, it does not include those which are administered by parenteral route, and also a formulation in the authoritative text. Both authoritative text formulation cannot be called as patent medicine or a proprietary medicine. as well as there are those which are given parenterally. Parenteral means injectables, subdermals, and things like that. So, thus being the case, Ayurvedic drug and Ayurvedic proprietary medicine has been defined very clearly in the law of the land India. Many people, particularly those who are the exclusive love with Ayurvedic drug, particularly Ayurvedic drug, which is also known as or called as by different terminologies as classical medicines, classical Ayurvedic medicine, and things like that. So there is nothing classical about it. It is about Ayurvedic drug, which is from the authoritative texts of Ayurveda in the first schedule, listed in the first schedule. But those who love these products and say always that patent and proprietary medicines do not have that value, authority, authenticity of Ayurveda to be called so. Friends, if you look at the Charaka's definition itself, where this stemmed out from, where this proprietary medicine came out from. So, Charaka has mentioned very clearly in his Kalpasthana, 12th chapter, when he describes that, there are 600 formulations have described about for this Panchakarma, Virechana, Vamana, and all those things. He says, Pradesha matram etad drashtavyamiha shakshatam swabudhyevam sahasrani kotirva api prakalpayet. Bahudravya vikalpatvat yoga sankhya navidyate. So beautifully said. So only to the limitations of some region, some the limitations, whatever that we can enumerate. He says that I have, with the limited resources and limited nature, I have described 600 of them. But Swabuddhi evam, so by individuals, analytical reasoning and advancement, the combinations and yogas can be sahasrani kotirva. Look at this. So because of the possibility of different innumerable combination, Brahudravya Vikalpatva, the Yoga Sankhya Vidyate, there cannot be any limitations. So are there only 300, only 600 formulations that we find? No, definitely not. So when he has given that, a possibility that there can be a prakalpa, so many that can be brought out, and so are these, the second category defined by law as proprietary medicine are equally Ayurvedic product, Ayurvedic medicine. Friends, if you look in the whole the journey of Ayurveda's history, the type of formulations that Charaka Sushuta has referred to and recorded, and the developments that happened over a period of time until today, you find whatever that has followed than what it was before were actually contemporary to those times. This concept of Rasaushada, although he said Bhauma, the ingredients, the source of ingredients as described before, consists of 3 of them, natural sources, where the minerals were there, Bhauma, although he had described, but in its true sense of what we practice today as Rasauchadas, were alien to them. They were absolutely a contemporary and even proprietary to Rasavidyas, Rasa practitioners, Nagarjuna and Rasa Vagbhata and many others. So they were actually proprietary and patent to them. They were not having any reference or relevance to Ayurveda Samhitas before. So they are actually patent and proprietary to Charaka and Surshita's products or the formulas. And today, while advancing further with the technologies coming into the picture, it is further evolved, and there is absolutely no reason why we should think it is the proprietary medicines are unsanctioned and unscientific or non-classical. No, the differentiate classical, non-classical. Everything is classical. Everything is classical at different point in time. So when legally it is also defined, so we should not have any hindrance to that. So it is evolution of human knowledge that over a period of time that we innovate many new things into the armamentarium of a physician in his war against the disease. Today we find these dosage forms which are said to be, I quote, said to be or believed to be, many people believe this, to be non-classical than what was said in the so-called Ayurveda authoritative texts. Example, tablet, capsule, syrups, and many things. If you look at this tablet, solid dosage form, which actually has been there before, making vati, gutika, modaka, so many things in a different way. Whatever the technology available at the time, people have made, recorded, and offered to us in the lineage, thanks to them. So today people have questions on what tablet has got to do with the Ayurvedic preparation, Ayurvedic product, because it contains many other things than herbal ingredients. Yes, of course. What makes a tablet today is because it has actives as well as the excipients. So because the excipients are not Ayurvedic in nature, are not considered to be natural, blah, 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 people have kind of a ignorance or neglect for these approaches, unfortunately. As you know, the tablet contains, besides active, as defined by WHO's definition of herbal medicine product as well, that contains excipients. These excipients are very essential for in today's scenario. Please imagine that there was no excipient used in those times, then why are we using today? The answer is very simple. Those times, the physicians used to make these vati, gutikas, I'm talking about solid dosage form as an example, were making in a very small quantity by their own hand and for a very limited number of patients, maybe 1, 2, 3 or whatever. So he used to do in a very small quantity, and it was possible by hand naturally, and it was possible for him to roll a pill, the solid dosage form, and then dry and then offer. Today, we need to cater to millions of people these products. How one physician, one single physician or group of physicians physically are able to do that? Thanks to technology, today it has become an industry to manufacture. So obviously, in the whole process of manufacturing, the active herbal ingredients require certain other ingredients which need to keep them together and for various other advantages. If you look at them, it contains dilutes. Why? Because Some of these herbal ingredients, herbal products, herbal preparations like Kwatha, Kalka, Churna, etc., need what is known as a body for them to keep a bulkiness for the industrial method of manufacturing to fill a punch, a dye and a punch, dye. So their diluents are fillers, particularly even in capsule also we need fillers for them. Then binders, obviously there some ingredient need to bind them. And one example that we know very well from the tradition being gugulu. Gugulu and other resinous materials which are known for their binding. So the gugulu kalpa itself is an exclusive one, wherein gugulu acts as a binder besides having its own medicinal properties. Then, for having said that binders are there, if they bind hard and firm, friends, you are sure that the tablet which is, or a pill, guti, vati, which is swallowed as it is, comes out. And if an argument is there that it has to be powdered, mixed with the anupana and then given, then that's a different issue. So that is individualistic. And today in the fast-paced world, so where is the time for anybody to sit and do all this? So there is a need for an ingredient called disintegrant. So the tablet, after going into the stomach, has to disintegrate, otherwise it comes out as it is. So disintegrants are very important. So it has to disintegrate early so that it should release the herbal ingredients, herbal active ingredients, and that is readily available for paka and then vipaka and then absorption, everything. Then, because of the industrial method of manufacture, it needs, this whole group of materials need what is called as lubricant, otherwise it gets stuck in the machine, the high speed and the heat that it develops, generates, gets stuck and becomes very sticky and you cannot get the tablets out. So there are lubricants. The powder has to free flow. It's also called glidant, so it has to glide through the hopper into the dye, and then punch will come and press it to make the tablet. And there are certain times extraordinary coloring agents as well as the preservatives that are used. But these are considered to be non-Ayurvedic. But friends, the same law which defines Ayurvedic drug, as well as patent and proprietary Ayurvedic medicine. In the rule number 169, there are permitted excipients allowed. These excipients are the standard excipients which are mentioned in Indian Pharmacopoeia, then Bureau of Indian Standards, as well as Prevention of Food and Adulteration Act. So there are certain norms which are described there that one has to use it with the limit, and there are a few labeling requirements, etc. But they are allowed by law to be used to manufacture this solid dosage form. That's a very, very important thing. And these are said to be excipients. Our most popular name, which was called before as inactives. So they were away from the actives, basically. So in this context, they do not participate in the drug action, but they aid. Many times they are aiding. Say, for example, disintegrant aids the formulation to disintegrate faster so that the drug is available for further kinetics and dynamics. So these excipients are part and parcel of Ayurvedic product, and there should not be any reason why it should be looked differently. And they are non-classical, non-authenticated, and things like that. But anyway, today law has given a full authority and value to them. And today in this modern world of manufacturing, millions and billions of tablets per hour and per day, we need essentially these, and it is, I tell you, is a very challenging thing, particularly these natural actives, the herbal actives, etc., the Ayurvedic ingredients. So they are very challenging for the modern manufacturing. So it needs lot of pre-formulation studies, and then formulation trials, and then confirmation of the right, in the interaction between uh, the the ingredients as well as the active ingredients together. So they are today the part and parcel of Ayurvedic products, and there is no reason why we should shy away from using them as well. So for very great advantages, there are many situations shown. Even pharmacokinetically, they are very progressive than otherwise. And there are a few challenges today that in the current scenario of the ingredients in Ayurvedic product, mainly to be botanical in nature, in the present scenario of availability of these ingredients, the question on availability of these ingredients, should the product be redeveloped? Yes, friends, as you know, because the principal primary raw material for Ayurvedic medicine has been botanical, and these botanicals are found in nature only. And this this being the case, it's very essential that we need to relook at it. As you know, the threat to nature, it's one of the important United Nations agenda, as well as the loss of biodiversity around the world, which has also resulted in the destruction of medicinal plants, which is a part of the whole biodiversity, is quite alarming, and we need to do something much seriously about it. There are many reasons why this has happened. Everybody knows that over exploitation, because if something was very popular and very widely used in demand, so then there is a over exploitation in the nature. Then the population pressure, as well as wherein it has to be supplied to large number of people, large number of customers, consumers. So there is a population pressure, then there is a deforestation because of human habitation, as you know very well, and then as well as changes in the land use pattern. Today, what has happened? Forests have dwindled because man has occupied them for his own needs of food cultivation and many things, agricultural practices, and then forests have been dwindling. And finally, of course, increased demand for raw materials because they increased user base, the consumers, obviously. So there are many plants which are destroyed, very valuable plants. Friends, as you know, this is not the situation today. It has been there forever. It's history. It's a history. As you know very well, the Ashtavarga of Charaka, by the time about 1,500 years later, when Bhava Prakasha started rewriting Ayurveda book, so then he has replaced Ashtavarga with 4 of them. 8 has become 4, replaced by 2 of them for each herb. The rule for these so-called substitution, that's the way it is. Has been many things, of course, that I'm not going to the details of that. But however, as you know very well, it has happened. So Ashtavarga is not there completely. Even today it is Kakoli, Kshirakakoli, any of them, authentic plants. There are many substitutes or many other adulterants also have been brought into the practice. Nevertheless, in the name of Kalpolis, people use many varieties. Whether it was authentic or not, that's the question that needs to be answered. But however, for having said that these substitutions and adulterants are being menaced today, there's a high time that we need to relook at redeveloping the whole thing. One simple example is the very popular Dashamula Arishta, which is made so popular for thousands of years. And if you all look at it, the list of ingredients of the authentic Dashamula Arishta is spanning over 70 herbs, 70 plus, out of which how many of them are authentic ingredients available today? Dashamula itself is big challenge and question, and there is an alternative to Dashamula has been evolved instead of the bark, where we can go alternatively and things like that. There are many works have been going on, and still, if you want to compare them, this Dashamula versus the classical so-called classical Dashamula, there is a difference. So it's high time that we need to relook at redeveloping these, rewriting as well. And this is nothing new. As you can see, many of these compendiums and Ayurvedic formulations, there are many, in the last century, or not last century, a century before, even 200 years ago, a lot of literatures have been written and recorded in India. Like, for example, Bharata Bhaishya Ratnakara. You find there are 5 to 6 types of Shavana Prasha, then about 3 to 4 types of Dashamala Arishta, many things like that. And even we can see that people, the Sahasra Yoga reference is different from Vagbhata's, Ashtangradaya or Charaka, Bhaishya Ratnavali, whatever. So there are differences there. So people have evolved, they have redeveloped in their own times. And it's a high time that we should do it today in modern times. When it was done in Sanskrit language, the Bhava Prakasha wrote in Sanskrit, Bhaishya Ratnavali wrote in Sanskrit, and so on and so forth. Compendiums and the compilations made in Sanskrit. Today we have to write it in the most important standardized language, the scientific language of binomial nomenclatures of the plant, because that is where the other issues that is existing with. Because of this, the so-called, which one is the adulterant, which one is a substitute, either by the genus substitution, either by the species substitution, or is it by its morphology, and so on, so many things. That is why Charaka said the knowledge of these ingredients are very much necessary, important in the 3 forms of Nama Rupa Gunaistribihi. He says only those who know in all these 3 forms. So these have to be fixed. Both when he says Nama, name, nomenclature is very important. Just because it is said by one name, Brahmi, when you say North India, it is botanically different, to South India, it is botanically different. That should not be. There should be a standardized form. Thankfully, in the last 2 decades, that government of India has been able to do a big effort. I think it's almost a historical effort for the next 100 years. If you look, that thankful to Government of India's effort in the last 2 decades and or so, bringing about regulatorily authentic and it's a regulatory document. Developing a pharmacopoeia, first formulary, then pharmacopoeia is of Ayurveda is very, very important step in this direction, wherein the names have been fixed and finalized, and that's where one has to follow rather than any of the local traditions that we follow. So otherwise we will not have a standardized formulation, standardized herbal ingredients to be used in Ayurvedic preparations. So today the the IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, has issued red list. It continues to give on issuing a red list of the plants which are vulnerable for extinction, endangered for extinction, and are already critically endangered for extinction. There are many of these our popular Ayurveda herbs like Katuki, Picorai Sakuro, then Jatamansi, Nadostachis Jatamansi, then many others. As you know, even red sand, Santalum, Pterocarpus santilinus, are all in the red list. So until unless conservation, of course, thankfully again, a lot of NGOs and government department also, you have NNPB as well, coming for the help together. So to conserve this nature and then multiply the cultivation is a big program today, as you know very well. So in this context, it has been a great effort by the government department, as well as some of them have in fact been doing it for ages. For example, I was very fortunate enough to meet Honorable, respectful Krishna Kumar ji when he was there. So I had a fortune of meeting him, and he was able to take us through his lifetime achievements in Coimbatore several years back when I visited there. He has done a completely concerted and very wholehearted effort to preserve this the knowledge system into bringing into the modern times. Very great effort he has done, and one of them I was very impressed to see that developing a medicinal garden at that time itself to conserve some of these the so-called vulnerable species as well as endangered species as well. So that's a great the great legacy that it was always there with the traditional practitioners before. So to the nature, the respect to the nature, and then conserve them. It's a high time that there should be a big concerted effort at a very high level as an industry. Thankfully, many industries have been participating together and cultivating in a big way, reducing the pressure on nature. That makes it. And with that, having a sustainable resource for these botanicals for Ayurveda, the Ayurveda preparations of the future will have the most sought, more desired, standardized formulations that the whole world is looking for, particularly the so-called the scientific fraternity is looking for from Ayurveda. And that way, it helps a great deal that we Ayurvedists should not feel any amount of dismay or whatever not to venture into these efforts. We should join together and see and achieve the revival of the golden times for the most authentic and standardized Ayurveda preparations. Thank you.